Spider-Man Home Depot.
Ooh,
That's true. Spider-Man Home Depot
Spider-Man
would probably
Home
be.
Improvement starring Tim Allen. That's
It's a whole
Spider-Man.
reboot for Tim Allen.
It's just
deliberately
Spider-Man
designed.
It's just Spider-Man failing different DIY projects at home.
Spider-Man's the neighbor behind the fence that you never fully
Yeah.
see.
Oh no, that's
I feel-
That's Mary Jane.
I feel you know a lot about Home Improvement, Nick.
Oh fuck yeah! Who didn't watch Home Improvement?
I mean, it's an amazing show.
yeah.
I really
good.
didn't watch like a lot of it, but I feel for some reason Nick knows a lot about Home Improvement.
I won't
I'm a
be
JTT,
shamed.
Stan.
I won't
Jonathan
be
Taylor
shamed
Thomas?
for watching Home Improvement. But either way, I think Spider-Man Home Body would be better, where he's fucking grounded and he can't go out because he's been lying this entire time.
He's quarantined.
He's
And it's
quarantined.
him just looking out his window as crime is happening. Like,
Yeah.
So-
what do you think about
Wish
that?
I could go out there.
Spider-Man Home Alone.
Mm.
Bring back Macaulay Culkin. This is how we're just rebooting celebrities.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Nerd Shit Live. We like to walk all over the intro. We like to ruin the intro to our own show all the time. Don't worry. No one watches it anyway. So, house cleaning stuff I normally don't say before we start. First of all, I'm your host, Pat Ambrano. With me as always is my co-host, Dan Kilkenny, who's up in the corner, Nick Haverstraw, and newest to the team, Mike Burke. He's going to be sticking with us for quite some time, everyone. Give him a round of applause. I got that applause sound from CPAC, you guys. They're really excited out there.
Love it.
They got a really excited crowd on CPAC.
Yeah, man. Well, what I normally say at the end of the show, I should start saying at the beginning, is that the audio version of this show is available on all major podcast platforms later in the week. And if you like what you see, you should subscribe to this channel and check out the other shows, I guess, even though they're kind of old news, but whatever. Who cares? Speaking of news, see that, gentlemen? That's what you call a segue.
There you go.
Yeah, such a professional.
Speaking
Such
of
a professional.
Speaking of news, first up tonight, we have Justice League executives hated the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League. Now, look, they really don't leave anything up to interpretation, do they? Like,
The comments are hard.
and like, here's the thing: everybody thinks that movie sucks anyway, and I feel bad for the you guys know when you watch a movie and it like objectively is not good, and then there's people who no, you can say I still like it, but I know it's not good, but you can't be like I think that movie's good, because then you're wrong. And in this situation, not even the people who put the movie out were like, this is in any way, shape, or form quality.
But it's
We
their
hate
fault
this.
it came out. It's their fault
That's
that it
true.
came out. At the end of the day, they're the ones who pushed it to come out, even though they watched it and they were like, this is dog
Well,
shit.
what
Even
are they supposed to do after they just spent millions of dollars? They're like, we just have to pretend like it's good.
Well,
no,
I think,
and that's a very
Yes.
good point. You can't put it on the
Dude.
shelf.
yeah, I
But,
mean, look, there's
stand by your shit.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you're gonna take a meaty shit, stand by it.
that's exactly what I would say, is that you need to stand by your piece of shit. You know what I mean? If you write a terrible book, make a terrible movie, or record a terrible album, and everybody tells you it's dog shit, you need to stand by it. You can't be like, you know what? Yeah, this does suck, because then nobody else is gonna get behind it.
You can do that after you release your next thing.
Yeah, yeah, you can do that
But
once
you
you're
can-
on to the next
you can
project.
you can do the retrospective look back when it's just like, yeah, we were just trying to find ourselves or whatever. You can't do the retrospective look back when you don't have anything better to stand on and look back from.
And honestly, to add to this though, even Henry Cavill has gone on record going through his Superman trilogy, so to speak, and he was like, Man of Steel, it was great. We had a great time collaborating, creating this character. He was like, Batman v Superman, I think there might have been some things that we left on the cutting room floor that might have hurt us, or something like that. And he just goes, Justice League, it didn't work. That's all he said. That's all he said.
Not gonna go into that.
It's what he didn't say that spoke volumes.
Dude,
So
my favorite in the article, Pat, my favorite is that header image with Joss Whedon's face. It's just the stupidest looking half like Ron Howard smirk that you've got going on.
Okay, so here's a quote from some of the executives. When we got to see what Joss actually did, it was stupefying. The robber on the rooftop was so goofy and awful. The Russian family, so useless and pointless. Everyone knew it. It was so awkward because nobody wanted to admit it. What a piece of shit it was. Now,
but they still put it out.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. The reason they put it out, though, was because if they didn't put that movie out, they didn't get their bonuses. And here's the thing. They're not going to pull it off the release schedule when it's one of the biggest movies coming out that year. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Just not going to happen.
You can't fault them.
So the other thing...
yeah, you can.
Well, you can't fault them, but you can make fun of them.
Which is what we're going to do. The other thing in all this is that... Oh, shit. What's her name? Deborah Snyder. Deborah Snyder, who is Zach's producer on most of his films, and Christopher Nolan, okay? The guy he handed the reins off to, right? Like, from his Batman trilogy to... I think Christopher Nolan originally produced Man of Steel 2, and he left because he didn't like that Superman killed Zod at the end. Either way, though... They saw the film together and they both agreed, like, we can never show Zach this. Like, it will break his heart what they did to this, which is only, like, in my eyes, like, insult to injury. Like, Jesus Christ.
So he still hasn't seen it to this day?
I don't think he's watched it. I do not believe he's gone on record saying it. I mean, my problem with Zack Snyder is like, just let the movie come out. They just did something with IGN where they told everyone there's going to be a massive cliffhanger. It's 4 hours and 2 minutes long. There's a black and white version coming. It's like, dude, just shut up.
Like,
just shut up at this point. Let it happen.
Let it happen.
Exactly.
Let it happen.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean,
talking about a black and white version.
I like how they're like,
out.
The fucking expectations were so low. Like, all they had to do was put out a movie, and it would have been great. Now they're like hyping it up. Like, stop.
It's gonna be
just stop.
like just throwing more
you guys,
fuel into the fire.
Here's my official prediction for the Snyder Cut, since we talk about it ad nauseum at this point. No pun intended. But Zack Snyder doesn't make good movies. He makes movies that look really nice. He's amazing at transferring comic panel to screen. Okay? 300, Watchmen, some parts of BVS, okay? He does a really good job of, you know, taking one medium and making it another. Telling a coherent story, not his strong suit. Not as great as he thinks he is. So I think it's going to look better. I think it's going to be way more consistent and coherent across the board. But do I think it's going to be like this amazing, oh my God, Zack Snyder has done it again moment? No, not at all. Not at all.
He makes fun movies. At the end of the day, he makes fun popcorn flicks. There's nothing in his movies that are really pushing boundaries or anything like that, or captivating storytelling.
No, but he likes to believe
people getting killed, and it's a lot of fun.
It's a similar problem with like J.J. Abrams. It's like, man, those movies look incredible, but you are a terrible storyteller.
Wait, you really think that?
But I am tired of listening to you.
I mean, I think J.J. Abrams movies are much better than, say, like Zack Snyder. I think J.J. Abrams is just like he's like Spielberg 2.0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. I want to pump the brakes there. His movies look Spielbergian, but like he's not like. It's everything's a mystery box with him. It's like he's not good at writing a solid story structure.
I like
him way better than Zack Snyder, but he's not a great writer. He's no Spielberg.
I like Star Trek 1 and 2. Train Monster is good. I like that one. What's that one really called?
Train Monsters?
The monsters in the train. He's in the. It's basically
Snakes on a plane.
You're talking about Super 8.
There you go. I was about to call it.
I was like Snowpiercer.
I was about to call it. I was about to call it Violent ET because that's pretty much what it is. Like,
well,
if you said like old film camera train, I would have got it.
So, like, if you want to talk Star Trek, it's like the first one I was really impressed with because. Like the whole like alternate universe, so it's like it exists in the same universe, as the original series, but it's an alternate timeline. That was cool. But the whole Khan thing, like it relied too heavily on you knowing the IP already. It's like he just relied on like little tricks.
Nick, you wanna know what's funny? I watched that series backwards. I saw Star Trek Beyond first, I saw Into Darkness, and then I saw the original one. And when I was watching the second one, when he goes, "My name is Khan," I was like, okay. Like, what else?
What I love is that you were just watching it steadily get better and better.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is.
And you want to know what?
That JJ guy's really doing it.
And you want to know what?
That's
That's my opinion on the Star Trek series. I think it's great. I'm like, these movies only get better.
I think we need to rewatch. We need to
Flip 'em
rewatch
around.
it.
Do you guys not like Star Trek Beyond?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was.
like,
I thought it was pretty good. Like, I went and saw that movie on a whim. My friends dragged me to it. I was like, okay, and I was like, this is halfway decent.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
like if you have no expectations going into it, you're like, I'm pleasantly surprised.
kind of like I have.
his Star Wars movies.
Oh my god, kind of like I have.
Nick's throwing hands.
Kind of like I have no expectations for the next story. There is a
Segue.
There is a Frogger game show coming
And that's on God, baby girl.
to Peacock. Oh no! Does anybody have Peacock?
Yeah, it's free. Why not?
It's free? Well,
Yeah.
like, is it like free, like with Verizon or Comcast or something like that? Or
It's free to download the app. There's some shows that are free. Some shows it's like if you want to get them, pay for the But it's like the new show Mr. Mayor with Ted Danson. I think it's pretty good and it's worth downloading Peacock for free. So
Ted Danson.
there's your
That's how they
plug.
get us. They get us with that Ted Danson.
Ted
love.
Danson.
Dude, you could sell me on anything, Ted Danson.
I know.
But Frogger, which like Frogger is a game that like everyone grew up playing, like everyone like played it once at like a dirty pizzeria or something like that, like an arcade.
I was about to say
everyone is somewhat familiar with Frogger. It's just
Are you 10 years older than I am?
like, what are you talking about? Are you born in '83? Like, what the fuck is going on?
That's what I'm saying.
you guys are hanging out in the wrong pizzerias as kids.
My aunt had Frogger, or like the whatever version of Frogger for the Atari 2600, and still had that like late '90s, early 2000s when I would like go to her house, and it was still hooked up when I lived there like 2 years ago. So
Yeah, I've got an Atari not here, but in the garage at my parents' house with Frogger in it.
fuck. You gotta get those shits out.
We can bust it out.
It's just such a classic game, and I just think it's like I saw that they posted actually a casting call for it, and it's gonna be filmed in, I can't think of any better place to film it, Australia.
Ah,
Where
perfect.
it's
The place
perfect.
where
Like,
things go to die.
Yeah, the actual threat of like turtles killing you, alligators killing you, bugs killing you, all real, all live.
Fucking
It's not gonna
Australian drivers, boys. Oh, like they're doing this on live city streets, right? Like 8 lanes across.
summer on
They put up a
Peacock.
bunch of cameras. They're like, all right, make it across. Like,
as soon as they make it across, it's release the alligators, and you just see crocodiles coming from every which way.
like, I really want them to hire stunt drivers that get really close. So you're like, whoa, like, and they just miss. You know
Oh,
what I
I
mean?
pictured it would be in cars with like padding, so like they can hit you, but they won't be that bad.
I think no matter
Even if
what,
a
getting
car
hit by a
going,
car.
like, yeah.
No, they're not
Whether
going
it's-
60 miles an hour. They're going
I
like
think even at 20 miles an hour, if you get hit by
Even
a padded
with
car, you're
paddling,
gonna-
that's still gonna cause some
That's what-
internal bleeding.
Well,
that's
alright.
why you've got liability waivers.
You know what, Nick? Let's next weekend. I'm coming down. We'll pad up my car.
We'll pad up each other. Remember that guy with the bear suit? You guys, did you ever see videos of that guy? Brick, you know
Yes.
who I'm talking about? This guy made a bear-proof suit, and the way that he proved it was he tied a mattress to the front of his pickup, and his brother hit him to it like 45. Totally fine. Totally fine.
YouTube.
They would attach fucking huge tree trunk logs to fucking pulley systems and just swing them down right into this guy's sternum, and he would get up no problem. And everyone was like,
Well,
"Yeah, it's the
except for
bear."
the suit. You like,
And he's like, "Yeah, man, it's a bear-proof suit." And the one question was like, when the fuck would you ever be wearing this, like out in the wilderness, to keep yourself from being attacked by a bear?
You always got to be prepared.
Unless
if you're gonna be in the woods, just have the suit on.
Bear.
Like
you're hunting, you're like in a fucking tree stand wearing your bear suit.
well, the only
I mean,
practical
like, a suit of armor will protect you from a bear.
the only
probably.
practical application I see for that is if you literally put it on a Sunday afternoon and you say, "Hey, honey, I'm gonna go fuck with the bears for a bit. I'll be back." Okay, that's the only application.
You're gonna go. I'm gonna go start a forest fire, and I anticipate that Smokey the Bear is gonna have a problem with that.
I'm not taking any of his shit anymore. We're done with it.
We're done with Smokey. I'm tired of his face.
Smokey dies today.
Oh, that's the next BVS. It's like Bear Suit Man versus Smokey.
So actually, the series is going to consist of 12 obstacle courses. I don't know how many levels were in the game, so I don't know if that corresponds.
No one has ever beaten the game, so no one actually knows how many levels there are.
Frogger beats it. Frogger's the original Dark Souls, I heard, actually. So, or crossings, or seeing contestants dodging traffic, leaping over snapping gators, and hopping over hungry hippos to conquer the course and win a cash prize. Danny, I pray to God that this is gonna be like fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin's Skull
just
Crusher.
about to say
Like,
that.
do you?
It's gonna be like Broken Skull Challenge.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you two on the bottom? Have you guys ever heard of Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge? We used to go to Danny's house just to watch new episodes weekly. They'd get all these strong.
What channel was this on?
CMT.
CMT.
Oh, okay.
So they would get all these strong people, like athletes, bodybuilders, everything, right? And they put them in these ridiculously hard fucking what is it called? Obstacle courses, or challenges. Mm-hmm. There was one time where they had two people just fighting in a puddle, and right before it cuts out to go to commercial, you hear a drop of Stone Cold being like, "Oh, he looks hungrier than a hog at feeding time," like shit like that.
And they would just drop little, like, you would just say, like, "Holy hell!"
Yeah.
all the
So,
time.
like, get in there and stuff like that. However, I'll never forget this one contestant, right, makes it all the way through, and he gets to the very last course, and it's like 14 obstacles, like not easy at all, impossible to do. He fucking completes it, but since he didn't complete it in the time that the last contestant competed it, they're like, "Hey, sorry, you competed it, so you did really well, but you don't go home with the cash prize." And this guy was like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Yep, so that's it." And I remember, who were we with, Danny? And we were just silent, and you hear somebody go, "What? Are you fucking kidding me?"
This guy busted his ass, went up a 100-yard incline, rang a bell, ran back down. Keep in mind, the 100-yard incline is after he did all this other upper body and lower body shit. And then after that, had to climb a 20-foot rope to ring another bell and then drop down. I think he missed it by maybe 15 seconds or something like that.
It couldn't have been any closer.
And they looked him dead in the eye and said, "You didn't do it on time."
You. It's pretty much what happened.
Instead, your prize was you got to go back to the motel where Stone Cold was staying and watch him finish a 30 a PBR by himself.
And you know what? Now that I talk about this, it sounds like a good idea, and they gotta get Stone Cold to fucking host this. Danny, do you remember the way he used to introduce the obstacle courses? He's like, "First, you gotta dip in this cold water and jump all the way through this fire. Then you gotta swim across this lake and file my tax returns and sign my divorce papers. And then once that's done, I need you to help me hug my children because they haven't seen me in a year. Like,
then I need you to find my alimony checks and mail them to my ex-wife."
Thanks. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge.
Broken Skull Challenge. And after you do that, you gotta climb this rope.
In 10 minutes.
And at the top of this rope, you have to grab this pen and get my fingerprint. It was so great.
So I hope Frogger is something like that.
Yeah, so that's what we're hoping
You know
for.
who the host is?
No, I think it's all in pre-pro
I don't think
right
that's
now.
been confirmed yet.
Yeah.
Not
I
yet.
bet it's gonna be The Rock.
Who would you
The Rock
want to
is in
host?
everything.
That would be great, actually.
Came
I
from-
mean, and Peacock could definitely afford The Rock.
No, I want
Absolutely.
Kevin Hart hosting this.
Okay.
The Rock's
I
got
just
his
wanna
own
hear
show
him.
on Peacock, I thought. Or is that
Does he really?
CBS?
Does he? Oh, so he's in the family, so I wouldn't be
Young
surprised
Rock.
if they might be able to get him.
I just want to hear him like shouting as
Wait,
people
have
get
you
like
guys-
railed by cars.
But since Pat brought this up, have you guys heard about the Rock's new show?
Yeah, apparently it's really good.
It's called. Sorry for the tangent, but it's called Young Rock, and it's him running for president in the future, telling stories about his childhood.
Yeah.
So there's like actors playing him as like a little boy and a teenager, and like, who came up with the concept for this show?
He did.
The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock, probably.
The Rock. And then everyone around him was like, yeah.
Okay.
And I heard
He
Sounds
walked
good.
in.
and I heard it
showed
got
them
pretty
the
good
profit
reviews,
loss
so
chart
yeah.
for Fast and Furious, and he said, "Me,
Well,
money."
what was the other
Money, please.
what was the other movie? I mean, I'm sorry. There was another show that The Rock did where they built a whole fucking coliseum for him. And like it's like one of the craziest challenge shows now. It's like where they take the mallets, they have to break the cement balls, or they have to like do it's like Ninja Warrior, but from The Rock. Oh God.
Let's say, is it a
Is it
reboot
just
of
Rock
American?
Coliseum?
No,
American
no,
Gladiator?
it's something, dude. It's not American Gladiator.
Titan Games.
Yeah, there we go. That's
Titan
it.
Games.
Titan Games.
Right.
That is so big. Like that got so huge. People love that shit.
You know what? John Chang Soon. I bet he watches that show.
Can I ask why?
He's an American Ninja Warrior fan, so I bet he's watching this.
Yo, if you watch
Huge
G4,
Rock
if
fan.
you watch G4 in the early 2000s, you're an American Ninja Warrior fan.
Oh yeah. I feel if you were in our demographic, if you are watching this show right now, you are an American Ninja Warrior fan.
And speaking
It's a good show.
and speaking of the early 2000s, ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten confirmation that I think it's Nickelodeon is launching a specific nothing but Avatar content, Avatar: The Last Airbender, like studio, pretty much. So I mean, look, I thought the movie was okay. I'm not big on M. Night Shyamalan. I didn't think it deserved all this, you know? Like, I didn't know that that was going to come out of this.
How dare you
Yeah.
mention the movie?
Yeah, I've heard
the
that.
live action
I
movie
have-
in the presence of this. How
I have
dare you?
heard that fans of that movie, I mean, I've heard that fans of The Last Airbender do not appreciate that movie. They don't accept its existence.
I know people who walked out of the movie theater about when they got to the end of Act 1, and they were just like, done. I'm not even finishing the rest of this. I think I only made it 10 minutes into the movie, the live action movie.
I've never seen it.
But
so-
it's terrible. It's so bad.
yeah, I imagine.
But either or, this is super exciting for Avatar fans like myself, especially with Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, who I'd never learned.
Oh,
how to
I thought it
pronounce
was
his last
Brian
name.
Gumble.
Brian Gumble, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But no,
But-
tell me about it. I mean, you guys know me. I'm not super into anime, and I'm not like really big.
It's not even anime.
Is it? I don't know though.
It's a cartoon. You watch
It's a
cartoons.
cartoon. I wouldn't
Yeah,
call it
but
anime.
I don't know. I just can't get into it. I watched it as a kid, and I watched it for a little bit. But what's Caillou's real name? There, what's his? I didn't like him.
Aang.
Aang. Okay, whatever.
You made that joke like 3 times this week.
Yeah, and
okay?
it still works.
We
He's
still
waiting
didn't
for it.
appreciate it.
He's like, those 2 watchers, they're gonna love it.
But no, it's not only was it great for kids, but also I didn't actually watch it for the first time until I was in college. And I remember thinking like I missed out on something amazing when I was a younger kid. It is so good. The storytelling is amazing throughout the entire series. There's maybe throughout the whole series, there's one bad episode. The
Which
Great Divide.
one?
The Great Divide in
Which
season
one is
1.
that?
It's the one where there's the big
yep.
divide, and it's pretty great.
You know,
And,
you know the Great
it's
Divide with
ter-
a big
You know the
divide?
one where
With a big
it's there's a
divide.
split. Yeah, that one.
That's literally it. There's a big split, and everyone unanimously agrees. Even the creators agree that we didn't know what we were doing there. That's a bad episode. But when Netflix announced that they were doing the live-action series, and they had the original showrunners assigned to it, huge news. Everyone was super excited. They were like, finally, the live-action series that we always wanted out of Avatar.
Yup.
Then, as many of us know, the showrunners had some creative differences, and they walked with Netflix, and they walked away
Isn't
from
that
it.
always the case, though? Creative
Yeah.
differences.
Yeah,
What is it
it's
really,
probably
though,
a little
huh?
bit deeper than
You know,
that. A little
who
bit
stole
deeper than
whose
just
bike?
creative differences.
Who touched somebody's pen? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Someone, yeah,
Who
no,
injured
someone drank out of someone's coffee mug.
yeah, pretty much.
But now that those two guys, Michael and Brian, are going to be heading up the studios, that is super exciting, especially that it's going to be on Paramount Plus. There may actually be an opportunity for them to make spin-off series that are maybe like TV 14 that are in that world, but it gets like maybe a little bit more violent. So that is something super exciting to work with their, aging audience.
How
I
come
think
he
that's
just doesn't
actually,
make
like-
the air come out from inside of them and they explode? Now that
Why do they
would be
move
fucking
the air
sick.
around? It's not. He's not. The air's all here.
Yeah, but the air's in your lungs, right?
And that is actually something that they do in Legend of Korra. They
Yeah.
suffocate somebody by taking the air out of their lungs.
Oh
And
shit!
the cool thing with the water benders is they do blood bending.
Mm-hmm.
So they do
Yo.
some like janky stuff with that.
Yeah,
So
but
there's a
it's
lot
cool.
of
It's-
opportunities to work with, the aging audience, which are people that are, our age in their late 20s, early 30s.
Which is
It's-
a really cool thing with it. Like from Legend of Korra was like Avatar, like the Last Airbender, the first one was really great, and I felt it was aimed at it was like Y7, it was aimed at like a younger audience.
Nice.
Like obviously throughout like the couple seasons, they garnered like a lot of attention because the storytelling was so rich, the character development was great. And then like a couple of years later, they give Legend of Korra, which was, in the future, things had happened. It's a more mature kind of look at things, and they actually take a look at like more in-depth, themes, and it just like they made it so much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to see how they're going to do that.
Like when it was originally airing on Nickelodeon, Legend of Korra, that is, at the end of the first season, there is a murder-suicide that happens in the show.
Holy
and that's when the
shit!
Nickelodeon executives were like, if we're doing season 2, this is going to air online, and that's that.
Yeah.
Like they immediately just told them, like, this is no longer airing on Nickelodeon. We can't do this. And then they ended up, because they then started tackling things like depression and PTSD, as well as, sexuality, where in
Yeah.
Legend of Korra, it ends up, spoiler alert, at the end, she realizes that she's gay and she's a lesbian and she has a partner. And it's something that it really, really tackles
Why did
social
they put
boundaries.
this in the fucking trailer? I would have watched Murder Suicides. That would have been cool.
Well,
Yeah.
the big problem with Korra was there's like so much studio interference that it's like
Yep.
as many as there were like cool themes and concepts that they did play with, Nickelodeon really hamstrung the series by like the way they divvied up the seasons. So they had a nice complete ending after season 1. Then 2 and 3 were trying to create a whole new storyline, and then 4 was kind of in jeopardy. So I really think that this new studio is kind of giving them a second chance to really say, hey, we have this world, we really care about it, and we can actually flesh it out rather than just being at the mercy of a Nickelodeon studio.
And
Exactly.
I think what's really good about it too is that with things getting like pre-cleared for multiple seasons much more
Mhm.
frequently now, especially this kind of content, they don't have to worry about are we going to be, it's not that mainstream television, not that 8 p.m. on a Thursday slot where it's like, are we going to be here next year?
Or 8
So
p.m. on
we
a
don't have to do
Sunday.
this weird.
They,
I mean,
they don't
hopefully
have to
not.
wrap.
No.
Yeah, they don't have to wrap every season in like a nice little bow. If they know they're going to have 3 seasons, like they did with Avatar, then they can tell an amazing story arc. Like Avatar season 2 did not end on a happy note. It was very much like The Empire Strikes Back, where it ends,
Yep.
on kind of like a holy shit, what is actually going to happen at the end here? But I think this gives Avatar a new life. It gives it a new chance because already there's doubts about the Netflix live action series. There's a lot, we won't get into it completely, but there's age changes, there's character changes that just seem completely unnecessary. And so I think this is a great opportunity to keep an incredible world going as much as possible.
Hey,
Well, that's something that like we haven't really gotten to touch on. Like we've just kind of been like fanning out about it, but the one thing that I think is really rich about the Avatar world is how much room it has to grow. Not only like looking backwards at all the previous avatars and the history of the the world of Avatar, but at the end of Korra, it ends with our lead characters going into the spirit world, and that was something that always fascinated me. Like, what I want to see some adventures in this weird otherworldly spirit realm, and like I'd love to see a whole series just about like Korra and Asami exploring that realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did do a really good job. What I did like about Legend of Korra a lot is when shows do that very similar thing to, like, I don't know if any of you all watched Adventure Time or anything like that, but where it's like they only give you such a little bit of the world and they let you know that like you're just peeking the door open and that there's a ton over there and it's just pure speculation as to what you want to do. And like you figure out little bits as you go on. They never give you all of it. And it literally wants you to make just like, I want more and more and more and more content and more lore. Like you just are dying for it with that kind of storytelling.
Exactly. Like they give you the rules of what the spirit world is like and the laws that you have to follow in the spirit world, but you don't see too much of it. Like, how is Uncle Iroh just living in the spirit world? They don't really explain that. He's just some old guy who loves making tea in the spirit world. But
he was definitely super connected to the universe, though.
And
like
that was like a Buddhism kind of thing where he has like, reached enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Let go of his earthly tether.
And on that note, talking about dead people, we're moving on here, gents, to
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh.
This is a tribute podcast to Rush.
Rush, we salute you. No,
oh God, please take that back.
Rush, we don't salute you. Either way,
cracked yourself up, didn't you?
No, just fucking Nick was the Rush Limbaugh. So, tonight we have a trailer revealed. Guys, are you excited for what it is? Now, two of us have already seen it because that's how we do. And yeah, the other two of you guys haven't heard anything about this, right?
No, nothing.
Wait,
all right.
Who else has seen it?
You and me.
I haven't seen it.
What?
I thought you said
you said you did watch it.
No. I assumed that Pat would already watch it, as he does with every trailer. And then I have not
was that
seen
Avatar
it.
1?
Look,
That's
it's Nick.
It's me in college. Anyway, yeah, I have not seen this trailer.
All right,
then we got 3 pairs of fresh eyes.
I thought you were going to say we had 3 fresh eyes. I was like, do you know how to
Just
do
3.
math?
Just 3. Just
the
3
eye.
eyes.
Give me 1 second, boys. I'm going to, okay, hold on. Here it goes. All right, you got it. You see it?
Oh, he did it. He's doing it.
Do you see it? Do you guys see it?
Finally.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. I didn't notice the guy in the wheelchair before.
That's heavy, brother. But I dig it.
Netflix. Woo! All right, so thoughts.
So what's it about?
Yeah. I'm excited for the movie, but I didn't really like that trailer.
I'll tell you what. I don't think this trailer obviously like it's just a teaser trailer, so I don't think it's really like supposed to be big in your face, you know what I mean? This is just kind of like planting the seeds, so to speak. But I will say this. There's obviously a bunch of press that comes out with these things afterwards, and interesting enough, I learned that Dave Bautista actually can't read because he said that he read the script and he immediately signed on to do this, and he turned down making a part in James Gunn's Suicide Squad to make this. I don't think that's going to be a good move.
No.
What?
Why would you do that?
Think about, if you're Dave Bautista, do you want, it seems like he's the lead in this show, or in this movie.
Fair.
Would you really want to, if you want to be the lead, would you sign on for something like Suicide Squad, where you're going to be just part of an ensemble? Or do you want to try and really plant your roots as a real leading man?
That's a good point, but I feel like, I mean, like, you look at him in Drax, from Guardians of the Galaxy, everybody remembers Drax because he stands out so much compared to the rest of them.
You mean in a Marvel movie where they know how to make movies?
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But that's also a James Gunn movie, though, Nick. You know what I mean? The Guardians of the Galaxy are James Gunn films. And granted, Marvel does this thing where they take young directors or directors with no film cred, and they say, hey, you can direct this movie, but we're going to micromanage every step of the way. That Guardians of the Galaxy was one of those movies when they were still hiring A-tier directors such as James Gunn, and were letting them just do what they wanted to do within the rules they had to play by. You know what I mean? James Gunn was supposed to usher in the whole cosmic side of the MCU. And regardless of whether you think he did that or not, that is of his creation of Guardians of the Galaxy. That is of his previs, his storyboard, his script, everything. And Suicide Squad's going to be that as well. You know what I mean? So there must have been something compelling. I don't think it was
money.
Yeah,
this is Netflix we're talking about. They just throw money at anybody.
I think the shitty thing about that trailer was I didn't even know he was in it until Pat, when you went back to the YouTube search, and then he was the thumbnail.
Yeah, fair enough. Now,
I was like, okay, there's a jacked dude who looks like it's Gears of War running through, a casino, and I was like, oh,
Bro,
I guess that's
he campaigns for that role.
I was about to say that's his role. That's the role that he was born to play.
My God.
Gears of War guy, whose name I don't know.
Marcus Phoenix. He campaigns for that role, and obviously Microsoft's like, we're not making a fucking Gears of War movie. Get out of here.
Stop it, Dave. So get out of my office again.
That being said, Microsoft extended their hand, and he is a DLC skin for Gears 5. I have him, and he is fully voiced by Dave Bautista.
Cool. Has
his own, action. They're like, hey, you can't play Marcus, but how about we make you his friend? You know what I mean? So a lot of people seem to think that this is a sequel to Zack Snyder's first breakout film, which was, have you guys seen Dawn of the Dead? Came out.
Yeah.
That was one of the first horror movies I saw in theaters, and it's pretty good. I like it. I mean, it's not great, but it was a lot better than people were expecting for a remake of a shitty. Well, I guess it depends on your taste at that point if it's a good sequel or not. But either way, this is not a sequel to that. This just happens to have the same title. I don't really, or the same nomenclature, if you will.
Was this based on a video game? Wasn't there a video game like this or something set in Vegas? I could be completely.
Are you thinking of Dead Rising? It's like
yeah.
That's initially what I thought about because
Dead Rising's in the mall.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking about when I saw all of these.
Vegas Mall.
Fallout New Vegas was a whole game.
How about
zombies?
Yeah.
My next question would be, did anybody get the Left 4 Dead vibe at all?
Kind of, with the group of people that are out there just sort of trying to work together. You got your tank, you probably got then the medic, and then the tech guy, and then the woman.
I'm getting too old for this shit guy.
I'm getting too old for this shit guy.
So the guy who's gonna die, pretty much, he's gonna save yourself. Now, I don't understand what's going on here. Why are they trying to, steal a whole bunch of money when it clearly looks like there's quite a lot of zombies? You know what I mean? Is the rest of the world fine? Does money still matter in this world? You know what I mean?
Right. And if you have that many, I always feel, I don't know, in every zombie movie, there's almost always some kind of zombie Elvis. Is that just an inside joke thing now within the zombie movie community?
I think that's required in when they sign the contract to make the movie. It's just, and then clause 38B, there must be an Elvis in there somewhere.
They're like, yes, the Elvis clause, we know.
It goes back to Elvis's will when he died. It stated that any zombie movies needed to include
He was
him.
like, "Hey, baby,
God.
put me in.
It's in
Oh,
his honor.
hey,
He
baby,
had a lot of dirt on
you're gonna have to put me in those zombie movies if you know what I'm saying." I don't know why else.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, like, I'll watch this. I'm not looking forward to it. Like, this is gonna be one of those that, like, I'm gonna be scrolling through Netflix and I'm like, all right, the Dave Bautista zombie movie's out. We'll get to it
Now,
next week, and then I'll watch it 3 months later.
Not that we have to really get into it, but this movie also had extensive reshoots to replace Chris D'Elia with Tig Notaro after his scandal. I read a quote on it, and Zack Snyder just said, "In this day and age, it felt like the the good thing to do, the obligation to do, to take him out." But at the same time, he's having a resurgence, like right now at the time this movie's coming out. You know what I mean?
At the same time,
Wait,
just let
he's
Chris
having a
D'Elia
resurgence?
just
Or-
let him
or-
get torn apart by zombies, and then
I don't think.
Actually,
You know what?
Not a bad
that's
point.
Not a bad
really
idea.
Good idea.
Chris D'Elia has
they
paid
paid me
his
the big
price to
bucks.
society. He got torn apart by zombies. Okay.
you can make it a group of like female zombies. You know, it's a whole,
Yeah.
you know,
Mike,
It's a whole
Ben
cathartic
Jar-
thing.
we got to get in touch with Hollywood.
give me the phone,
Get Mr. Hollywood on the line.
John Hollywood.
But yeah, Crystal. They
John
took him out.
Hollywood
It's
here.
just- they-
No, but what were you gonna say,
it's-
Danny?
Yeah, they did. I was just gonna say they did the right thing. There's no point in now thinking back like, oh, there's a research. He apologized or
Yeah.
explained his case.
I mean-
At this point, it's done. He's out of the movie. Let's just move forward.
Yeah. I obviously I was not advocating for them to like put him
No.
back in or
Yeah.
anything, but I'm just saying like the timing is weird. You know what I mean? Like the timing is just
Yeah.
odd. You know?
Maybe that's the way Chris D'Elia wanted it.
Well, Chris D'Elia knew what he was doing.
Was he grooming it?
Was he wanting it, Burke? Was
Was he grooming the role too? Or
Oh man, this is all right. We're going into dangerous territory now.
Dude,
All
next
right.
topic.
Next topic.
Anyway,
Next
I
topic.
enjoyed the 2004 Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was good, and especially that opening sequence. Do you remember that?
Oh, with the little girl.
Yeah, and like just your main character discovering the world. It had like elements of like Rick Grimes in Walking Dead, and in spite of what I said about Zack Snyder earlier in the show, I thought that was some really good like visual storytelling. You know, show not tell. Yeah, so I'll give you that, Zach.
I like when they use the cover of Down with the Sickness, and that guy from Modern Family is boning that blonde chick with his boat.
Yep. Ty Burrell as a douchebag.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Why did he have the keys? Why did he have the keys to his boat on him, like during the zombie apocalypse?
You don't?
to get down.
You don't have your boat keys?
And they recorded it too. I don't know. Either way. So next up, Sony State of Play, everyone. Yeah, no, it sucked. We did not like it. They
Shove
can.
it just right back up your ass.
No, so obviously, before we get into the, the big elephant in the room, I just want to say that I went into this Sony State of Play maybe with way too like exceedingly high expectations. Then again, though, Sony's been having a couple banner years as far as announcements and the hardware and the launch of the PS5 and everything. So why would I not have those crazy ass high expectations? I don't know how you guys felt about it going into it, but I was just not pleased. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go through the things that were announced and we'll, give our little thoughts on those. And then we'll talk about the things that weren't fucking announced and how disappointed we are that they weren't announced. Not just disappointed, angry. Okay? I'm seething.
I mean,
I'm seething.
I think after all of the Nintendo Directs and how we're like that set the precedent for how I'm looking at like, anything essentially coming out and like, these things are coming up. I just don't there's no expectations anymore. Like you're up here, I'm down here.
The Nintendo Directs have been pretty disappointing.
They've been horrible, dude.
I mean, I'm with you, Burke. I literally just went in with zero expectations as I started reading about then what was announced. And even with my zero expectations, I was still disappointed. Like, I was expecting nothing, and I was still completely disappointed with the still nothing that they really announced.
So Nick, you watched it as well, right?
I did, and I also had no expectations. I hadn't even thought about it until we brought it up for this show. So, yeah, like I really don't feel one way or another after watching it. I'm like, okay, I don't care about any of this content that I just watched.
Yeah. So I sent you guys the article that's in the Okay, so if you pull that up, we'll just go through that list. So first off, one of the things that got announced was Crash 4. It's about time. Got a 4K 60 FPS upgrade, faster loading times, reactive triggers, haptic feed. Yeah, okay, so it's Crash 4 for PS5. A port, okay? Something nobody asked for. The next thing, Returnal. This game actually looked pretty good.
This looks cool.
This looks like they took the concept of Prometheus and made it an action game.
So this actually, like, I was watching this and I was like, this, like, you know, should have been their like lead, like, you know, this should have been what they hung their hat on.
This was the first one up, I'm pretty sure. Like, so they
after Crash.
Crash was after
Crash, okay.
But it looks incredible. Like, I'm a huge fan, as you guys know, of like roguelike games and roguelike mechanics. The fact where, you know, you play the game, it's really hard, you die, but you get started over, and there are elements that you continue to bring forward life after life. Like, you die, and then it unveils a little bit more of the story. They've been a super, super popular thing with a bunch of indie games, and I'm really excited to see like major studios adapting that platforming now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think it was cool what they were saying about the mechanic where, like, when you die, you come back. The map has changed. The enemies are in different positions. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That, you know, like, you can't really just like, oh well, now I know this guy's got this path. Like,
it's called procedural generation, and like I mentioned, literally indie games have been doing it forever, and it's a lot easier on an indie game when you're doing like, you know,
but that's also my other
top-down,
problem is that, like, it's been done. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about, you know, the PS5 here. You know what I mean? Blow my fucking head off with with like something.
Crash talked about like 3D audio and haptic
exactly.
Sensors. I was like, my controllers vibrated for 20 years.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the haptic feedback is kind of unreal. Like, you could feel the different types of textures as you walk on them in games. Like, and the adaptive triggers I think the true next gen nature. I feel like the next gen nature is really in the controller as opposed to the console per se. I mean, the visuals are a nice update too. So then there was another one.
That's just sad.
So there was another one. Saifu is the next one up. Looks like this, like, really kind of like a fresh take on a martial arts game. And then I saw there was a dude with a gun at the end, I think, or no, he had a knife. I'm pretty sure.
Like one of those short knives.
Yeah, a dagger. You know, somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Either way, this one at least looked good, but I'm not sold on it yet. You know what I mean? The art style
looks like
cool.
one of those old Matrix games, and I really like that the main character ages, and, you know, like, you can see like a story developing. That looked cool.
It just reminds me of Double Dragon. Like, that's all I can think of watching this trailer.
Double Dragon, what a throwback.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's like you're a dude punching a bunch of other dudes.
Pretty much. What do you guys think of Solar Ash? I mean, Burke, you know that's not a game for me, so
I'll let y'all talk, and then I'll give my
The art style was cool.
Yeah, like, it looks different, but, you know, like, what the hell is it? I don't get what it is. It's just, it looks lame. It looks lame, damn it.
Well,
Mike, all I really have to say about it.
All right, Burke,
Mike,
the floor is yours.
Platformers, right?
So that's the thing. This is the studio that had done Hyperlight Drifter, which is an indie game. It's an indie studio. That is a massively, like, revered title. It's like one of the, like, it's, you know, an indie darling. That to say, I'm not super thrilled about this game. Like, it's a movement-based game where, like, you know, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful looking. Like, everything in it looks cool. The art style is kind of ripping off of, like, No Man's Sky a little bit, I think.
Or like Journey. Have you seen Journey before? It looks like Journey.
And it's got a lot of breath. I mean, like, I think everything, like, post Breath of the Wild.
Take a little of this, little column A, little column B.
So that's the thing. It's like, it looks cool. It doesn't feel fresh, even though for that style. And while it's a movement game, but, like, with those, you need good combat, and the combat looked lazy.
It looked really lazy.
It looked, and it was like it's talking about timing. It's like you have to kill certain enemies based on time, but it's like it's the difficulty with these games, and what's really fun about these kind of games is when it's hard as all hell, and it's due to combat usually. It's not just like the platforming in this looks straightforward. Like you'll master it probably in an hour. So, I mean, for me, it comes down to the story. If it's a good story, if it's really captivating, it'll be a decent game. But other than that, nah, probably won't get it.
Like indie platformers, if you want to torture me, just put me in a room and make me play games like that. Like you can't do anything to sell me on a game like that.
God damn, we hate Solar Ash. Up next, though, I'm actually, you know what? I'll give the State of Play its due. I am excited for this one. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. It's, it takes the same formula as, let's say, Amnesia, Outlast, and Alien Isolation, and it applies it to the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. It's been a long time since any of those games came out, and I'm looking forward to it, actually. I am actually genuinely looking forward to it. I don't know if it's coming for PC, but it looks like it's just coming for PS5 and PS4.
PS4 and PS5, I believe. I don't know if it's coming out.
I like the franchise. I think it's a really, like going back from when it first came out, they've been redoing the same concept over and over. But with like the first game, really cool, interesting concept. I'm glad they're bringing it, some new ideas, some new mechanics. I think it's exactly what the franchise needed. I'm looking forward to this one.
I mean, Kenna and Bridge of Spirits. Look, I'm just gonna say this right now.
It's Kena.
Is it Kena? I'm just tired of the fucking bow and staff, and I'm out in the woods. Like, I'm just done with it. Like, Horizon did it.
Not me.
Horizon did it. I can't. Why, Burke? Is this
Dude,
rustle
this
your
game
jimmies?
looks astonishing. Are you kidding me? It looks like visually better than anything I've seen Pixar or DreamWorks put out in the last ever amount of years. Like, just from the trailer, I was like, Jesus, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
And it looks like the combat, again, I mean, as it draws from everything, I think the combat, looking at how they were playing and everything, it reminded me of Dark Souls, not verbatim, but it looks like it had a lot of elements that were similar to that. Which, I mean, every game now
Burke,
is
playing Dark Souls isn't a personality trait, okay? Drop it.
Quit bringing it up.
Yeah, quit bringing it up.
Yeah,
stop trying to hang your hat on Dark Souls, okay? We've all played Dark Souls.
But
that's what I'm saying. If you look at some of the combat where you have large monsters, you have yourself doing a lot of dodging, and then a lot of reactive play. I would probably play this. I'd very likely play this.
It looks like a Pixar movie. It's got these little tiny Ewoks. What am I playing a children's game? I don't get it. It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm just bitter.
Y'all are it's gonna come out and it's gonna be the story is gorgeous.
I'm with Mike on this one. It looks like it's gonna tell a cool story. It looks visually interesting, and the combat looks better than anything else we saw in this State of Play.
So I will say this. I don't agree with most of that, but the last part specifically, Nick, I think the combat in the next game coming up looks absolutely sick.
Yeah.
But I am not sold on it yet because I fucking hated the Dishonored games. I couldn't.
What?
Yup. I don't know why, guys. I tried playing Dishonored 1, could not get into it. Picked up Dishonored 2. It was like $10. I was like, you know what? Let me try this again. Maybe it's a little bit more fun. I genuinely gave it a go. I played for 4 hours. I was like, I just can't fucking do it anymore. I can't find my objectives. I can't figure out where I have to go. I have no ammo all of a sudden.
It's so linear. That was
linear.
Dishonored 2? Dishonored 2?
That was my problem with Dishonored, was it was too linear. Mm-hmm. I wanted more of an open world, and Dishonored 2 opened that up a little bit.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that I think Dishonored 2 is more like areas, it's areas as opposed to you're on a linear path to your destination. Because
it's a little bit more open, but it's still pretty linear.
Yeah, no.
But this game is Dishonored, Call of Duty, and Fallout, and I'm gonna play the fuck out of this game.
Yeah, 100%.
And Fortnite.
Dishonored 1. I mean, I think I played that one maybe 3 or 4 times, all the way through, just different ways, killing everyone, not killing anybody. But this game just being sort of like that, I am 100%. By the way, we're talking about Deathloop, right? It was
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, I don't think we said the name of the game that we're talking about.
Well,
but I am 100% looking forward to this.
I like the time travel. I like the time travel mechanic. That looks cool.
Yeah.
I like it, you know, I like this whole thing is like there's this guy trying to ruin our loop. I was like, oh, the loops intercept. You know, 1 ticket for loop, please.
And I loved Looper, so I mean, it only makes sense that this will be a great.
I mean,
and I love Fruit Loops. And like every kind of loop.
It comes together. It's full circle looping, and I'm here for it.
I'll have a bowl. I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this feels like Christopher Nolan, the video game, and it's like the concept is interesting. I loved the like James Bond trailer.
Yeah.
This one, I think, of everything that we saw, this was the thing that I'm most excited for.
This at least looked original. Like it looks like sort of an original concept.
Yo, you know what I noticed?
Of anything else.
This list doesn't have Oddworld on here. That
It
Or
does.
Knockout City.
It has them in between.
Oh, it does. Or not. Oh, it does. It does. It does. I see it here. It doesn't have Knockout City either. But Knockout City is just Fortnite on rollerblades, right? Oh no, dodgeball. Dodgeball. It's dodgeball. Fortnite.
It's Fortnite, Overwatch, and Splatoon. Don't get me wrong. Like from seeing it really quick, like after my initial thought of it, I was like, oh, this is trash. And I watched the trailer, and I was like, you know, this is gonna be a pretty fun game up until it gets toxic as all hell. Like when
kind of like Rust.
First logs. When someone first logs their like first 100 hours and then they just like start, you know, going into lobbies with brand new players and demolishing them. That's it. That's it.
Like I'm curious for Knockout City, what do you think the price point is going to be for that?
It's going to be like $49.99.
I can't imagine paying that much for it. Like maybe 25, 30 I'd pay for that, but I wouldn't pay any more.
Oddworld
if
Soulstorm though, Burke. Oddworld Soulstorm. That's a U game. That is a fucking U game through and through. I watched that game. I was like, this game was made for Mike Burke. 100%.
So, I actually didn't like the first Oddworld game.
I didn't know there was more than this one. So enlighten me.
It had a subtitle.
Yeah. So Oddworld,
this guy,
like he's your, what do you call it? Like your anti-hero or your, or not your anti-hero, but like your happenstance.
His name
hero.
is absolutely ridiculous. Abe is his name. So
it's got like a lot of Earthworm Jim vibes. It's got like a lot of that very like kind of like skewed off to the side, but also like, you know, you need a bunch of your people like Pikmin, and you can do pacifist runs or like full like murder runs. It's a little too busy for me.
I think it's cool that they're tying the health system to the haptic feedback with the character's heartbeat. That's an interesting take I like. And apparently this is the second chapter in a quintology. The other games so far have been named Oddworld, New and Tasty, and a full remake of the first game, Oddworld. Did I call it Oddball? Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey is considered the first game in this quintology. So what is he, a Mukdun? That's his name? The accidental hero turned leader of a growing revolution. He looks like a jackass. So like, I don't trust this guy at all.
I mean, it's a very similar. I don't trust him.
I don't trust him.
Tell me,
you
look at that fucking guy and you tell me he looks trustworthy.
No, I mean, like Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, it came out for PlayStation originally, so it's in that whole era of like it looked like Rayman, it looked like Crash, it was like all of that, you know, side scrolling but 3D.
Yeah, what the PS1 could do.
A lot of those games like. And like Crash, for an example, is like, I kind of don't want to play new versions of them. I'll play the old one 50 times and I'll, but it's like, I don't really need a new Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, no, like, fair enough. We literally have a new Crash Bandicoot. Moving on from there, though.
Didn't ask for it.
Moving on from there, though, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake. Was it Intergrade? I got the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I played it for 4 hours, and I haven't touched it since.
Really?
That's not to say that it's not a great game, because people do legitimately love that game. And honestly, I think it's fun, but I just like didn't have the time. I wanted to play something else, and I'll go back to it eventually, especially after the PS5 upgrade. But why the fuck did they spend so much time on this? Like, it was almost like 5 or 6 minutes of just Final Fantasy. And like they felt the need to show, they're like new textures, and they put them side by side. They're like higher frame rate. Put them. It's like we fucking know what this is. We're gamers. Like tell us the good shit. They're putting a new character in there that I am not familiar with their lore at all. I'm not familiar with Final Fantasy series at all, other than the 4 or 5 hours I put in the last game. And I'm sorry, what was the other? And that there is DLC coming. It's not the second chapter. Like this game only takes place in one section of the original. So there's going to be a part 2 coming out, right? That takes place in the third, and then a part 3, you know what I mean? So the way this works right now is once you upgrade to the PS5 version, then you can then you can get the new content. Still going to cost you money though. So like, it's more like an obligation at this point for them to just upgrade the visuals and the performance of it, but they're still going to make you pay for new content. Like, you're not getting any of the new content free.
I'm just going to say this. I've never played a Final Fantasy game, but even I know Final Fantasy just needs to stop. They just got to stop. They just got to stop it.
No,
I can't explain that anymore. As soon as you start getting into remakes of number 7... get the fuck out of here. You gotta leave. The door is right there.
Well,
come up with
so
new shit.
Apparently, like,
that's
there's
gonna be a hot take for Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
fans.
dude, because Final Fantasy
Dude,
7 is like.
at me. I don't give a fuck. I'll take all you want. Fuck you and your replaying of number 8.
Final Fantasy 7, like the first one, is like one of the greatest games of all time, like ever. So people wanted a remake. And they actually, took the time to make it something special. And like I said, it's halfway decent, and it's still turn-based combat, yet it's like moment-to-moment combat. So it's like you can be fighting and doing damage on people, but you can still like you hit, I think you hit like X, and you scroll down a list and you pick an ability to use, and then you use that ability, and you can do that. You immediately switch between all 3 of your characters, like in combat while doing this. Once all of you guys have used your abilities, then the other team does it. And then while still having moment-to-moment combat. So I appreciate this kind of revolutionary combat system where they made it moment-to-moment, but turn-based at the same time. But other than that, dude, I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And you guys want to know why I don't give a fuck?
Why, Pat?
Because where the fuck was the announcement for God of War Ragnarok, for Last of Us Factions, and for Horizon Zero Dawn 2? Like, what the fuck?
Because how they prefaced this, they were like, one of the most excited, talked about games.
I was so fucking mad.
You guys ready for it? Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I was so fucking mad. I was so fucking mad. Okay, here's my problem right now. God of War is supposed to come out this year. And the reason why I don't think it's delayed is because the first game took 5 years to make. It takes 2 years alone to build the game engine. And then it takes another 3 to actually, develop the game on that platform. They already have the fucking engine. And the sequel started as soon as the first one went into post-production. That's how these things work. I don't know anything about game development past that. I don't claim to. But how the fuck do you put out a trailer in the Q4 of last year with just the symbol, everyone loses their shit, and then you have this one, Q1, and you have no marketing material for it at all? How are you supposed to drive this hype train straight?
Shove it just right back up your ass.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you supposed to drive this fucking hype train?
It's all about the tease. It's all about the tease. They're just teasing you. They just want you to get mad. So then when you finally get the trailer or the teaser, it's like, yes, I finally have it. They're not here to just keep giving you what you want all the time.
I just want little tidbits.
They're just going to dangle the carrot, be like, didn't get it.
You know how mad I'm going to be when the trailer actually comes out?
Yeah, I'm actually going to...
I'm
going to be like...
You've owed me this.
I'm going to be like an entitled little prissy little bitch when the trailer comes out. I'm going to be like, I can't even get excited because this came so goddamn late, okay?
And then they're going to tell you it's 2 years down the line. Like...
Yeah, remember what we said before? Forget about that. And I mean, I have my old adage is, what great game doesn't get delayed at least 4 times? You know what I mean?
Like let them come up, like develop the game however they need to. Not to compare it to Cyberpunk, which Cyberpunk was a whole slew of technical issues. But in terms of this, I would rather it be story related. Like just delay it due to just make the story as good as possible.
Yeah, and to that end, we also have Last of Us 2 Factions, which is supposed to come out this year. The scope of that part, I mean, that was supposed to come out with The Last of Us Part 2. However, the scope of that has grown so much, they said, that it has to be its own release. I don't think it's going to be a full price game. I think it'll be like a $20 or $30 add-on or whatever. That being said, though, like, where's any of the information on that? You know what I mean? They said it was coming in a year after the last one, and it's not. What the fuck? And even then, Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. I'm not really that big of a fan of the first one, but I do want to look at the sequel because I feel like if they refine some of the gameplay mechanics, it would be better. Like, Burke, I know you've checked it out a couple times, and I mean, I think we had this conversation a couple nights ago, how like Horizon Zero Dawn is one of those games where they have like multiple different currencies, and like you have to build and craft everything with multiple different sets of, I guess you could say, crafting materials. So That's the thing I didn't like about it. I didn't like how you had to like ride a robotic dog or just run across the map. There was no platforming. Like you could only do like the Uncharted platforming where it was like up a certain specific part of the map. You know what I mean? Or like a predetermined path rather. You know, so I didn't like those things about the world traversal. But still, I want to see what the next one has to offer. You know what I mean? Because it was a cool story and it was like fun in parts. You know. So I just think that it was a huge swing and a miss, this whole thing on Sony's part. We got some cool stuff. We got some cool stuff like Deathloop and Five Nights at Freddy's, at least from my angle. And I think Returnal it looks promising. But other than that, this was such a disappointment. Like, I can't believe they went with this.
It's like not state of play level things. You know, like you can talk about these things and you can say releases coming out, da-da-da-da-da. And I know, but like, I think that a lot of people, and you know, generally the internet agreed, had like a certain level of expectation. Like if you're coming with a state of play, you're coming with something swinging, and you know they just didn't.
That being said, though, it was just confirmed this week that E3 is happening this year. E3 didn't happen last year because of COVID, but now it went all digital, and it's going to be an all digital event. And Sony hasn't stopped going. Sony and Microsoft still support E3. Nintendo doesn't go. However, I think Sony skipped last year. Now that I say that out loud, but they didn't have. But they wanted to save everything for PS5. They didn't really have anything. So maybe we'll see these trailers at E3. I hope we do, because if we don't, these aren't coming out this year. You know, that's a safe bet. You know.
Yeah, from now on, I'm just going to keep all my expectations low. I'm not going to think about games that I'm excited about until they're here. And I think that's the way to just walk through this video game landscape of just wait until it's in your hands and in front of your face, before you even think about it.
I appreciate your optimism, but I will not abide. I will continue to obsess and ride the hype train.
I'm very much aware.
That's like depression.
As far as I'm concerned, I'll put it like this, you guys. I was so hyped about Spider-Man 3 when I was a kid that I would go to sleep, have dreams about seeing the movie, and then wake up all pissed off because it didn't happen. Like, that's how hard I used to ride the hype train.
And then you saw Spider-Man 3 and thought, damn, I wish I didn't see that. I wish that never happened.
I mean, like, look, I believe somebody went out there and he cut out all the terrible shit from that movie and put it out online, and people were like, hey, this is actually halfway decent now.
It was probably Topher Grace.
but even then, I don't think that movie's all awful. Like, there's a lot of awful stuff in it, but I don't think it's
like
all awful.
Maguire.
Well,
like, those movies. Like who?
Emo Peter. Emo Peter.
The me.
Emo Peter. Yeah.
I don't know. Those movies, even though like they did not hold up. Like just watching them when we were that age at that time, it was just magical.
Hold on, what the fuck did you just say? Did you just?
You don't think?
Did you just imply that Spider-Man 2 doesn't hold up?
Yeah, I'm
Look at his face, Burke.
Are you saying that also doesn't hold up, Burke?
Burke,
You look me in the eye.
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is literally one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
It's incredible.
How
it's incredible.
dare you come on this show? Who let this guy in here? Okay.
Rewatch
Can
it.
we mute him?
Okay, rewatch it. Rewatch it. Let's
I
look
have
at
recently, about a month ago. I rewatched it, and it was amazing.
I will look at it objectively, and it will be great. So
I will rewatch it again this week. Come back next week and let you know where I stand.
All right, you know what? We will settle this debate next week.
On a throne of lies.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
All right. Okay, boys. Oh, I didn't realize I was still sharing that.
Ready, Steve?
I didn't realize I was still sharing the entire
Andy?
time. All right, boys. Can you see the clip of the week?
Oh no.
Good start.
I don't
like traffic.
I already don't like this.
I don't like traffic.
All right.
Yeah.
Nick
It's
mentioned
just
that there
a guy
was.
sitting in traffic in real time.
Nick mentioned there's no volume on this clip, so don't worry. Don't adjust your sets, ladies and gentlemen. Shit ain't broken.
Nick, can you do the soundtrack for this?
No.
And I'll do it. Oh God.
Oh!
No. Oh!
Oh! Oh my God,
Oh!
dude!
This guy's reflexes.
Hey, look at that camera dolly slowly moving in.
Oh, what the? Yo!
That truck saved that man's life.
What is going on here?
Got to be black ice. No, 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 no.
Oh shit!
Is he gonna make it? Thread the needle.
Yeah, I was gonna thread the needle. Look at this guy. He's not an animal.
Yeah, no, you're right, Burke. This has to be black ice.
Skirt.
Who pays for all this?
Wow.
Hey,
Who-
do you have any context for this?
No. Oh, this is. You know what this is? This is the. This is the audition tape for the new Frogger show.
Oh, like look at this. Like,
Get this guy on the show. Look at that.
That's the best part. Like the
The
slip.
slide.
hey, you
It
guys,
looks like a
check out
choreographed
over here. Check out right over here. Check this out. Ready? Hubcap. Oh, it's not a hubcap. It's a piece of debris.
That's that's some debris.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
just-
like the,
But
the,
no, like,
oh,
the dive
oh,
and
gotta get out of
the other
here.
direction.
You can tell by the run he's doing. He's not like running full speed.
Yeah.
He's slipping and sliding.
And you guys also can tell that this camera is on a vehicle that has not stopped yet. It just is sliding
yeah.
forward.
Yeah, you see the wiper blades.
Yeah.
Going.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
That
no,
guy's
this guy's
the
lucky that
MVP.
he didn't hit
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, damn.
Like
Oh
my
my
question
God.
is like, what do your insurance companies do? You know what I mean? Like, who pays for this? Who's at fault?
Also, think of the paperwork the cops got to go through.
He just
Oh
you
my God.
see him in the other lane just like stop and then keep driving.
Now, this man went home.
Yo,
This man went home and
Yo.
hugged his wife and children.
do you realize
Yeah.
what's
Oh my God.
terrifying about this? Look, he falls and slides and is
Yup.
still sliding until he moves out of the way of the car.
Wait, does
Like,
he grab something? Does he like drop his phone and grab his phone before he jumps?
Yeah,
Well,
bro.
yeah, you need your phone.
Yeah, he does. Look at that's. Oh, that's
Yeah, no, like you're absolutely right, Nick. Like he's running like he's got poop in his pants, but it's just placed under his feet. Although he may have.
Well,
pooped
let's
his
be
pants.
clear, Danny.
yeah,
He
I'm not a
probably
big
shit
fan.
his
I
pants.
what this man has
shit
done.
my pants there too.
The guy probably shit his pants, if
That
we're
is
honest.
C, all of the above.
I 100% would have.
Man,
Well, yeah,
this
wow,
sucks
that's where
so
was
much.
this?
You're asking a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to.
I like Nick like just blindly having the clip. Like,
I didn't even watch this myself. It's gonna be a surprise for everyone.
What is this? I mean, like, he
This
was
man,
standing.
wow.
See right here, He's on the same plane, like right here, right where that car goes over. And then look at this one. Oh,
That's the best. Like I know
Yeah.
like he doesn't dodge the car technically. If he was on the ground, he would have been fine. But just I love the like left jump, look, right jump.
Yep. And if you interviewed him after this, he would have said he blacked out and has no idea what happened.
I have no idea what happened.
He's what caused this. Maybe he's like a black, like drank himself
He's
to a
running
blackout.
away. He's like, they're coming after me. They know that this is my fault.
Sir, can you tell us what
I did
happened?
the ice.
Sir, can
I
you
made the black ice.
can you tell us about your experience? I don't know. I just remember being out in the middle of the road. I was on the side of the road, and I smelled shit, and that's all it was. And then
No, he did.
Will Ferrell.
He had an ice cube in the shape of the Death Star.
Death
and he
Star.
dropped it from an
And
overpass.
that is what we call a callback, ladies and gentlemen. That's why this man gets paid the big bucks. All right. Well, with that said, we would like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And we appreciate it. Once again, my name is Pat Apparano. These are my co-hosts, Dan Kilkenny, Nick Haberstroh, and Mike Burke. We will see you all next week for WandaVision, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you're all caught up. Talking to this guy down here. He knows who he is. Yeah. Somebody needs a login. Somebody needs a login for Disney Plus. Oh, God damn it. Which direction is it? This way. No.
I don't know. I'm
There we
pointing.
go. There we go.
I don't know.
Yeah, you go down. You go down, Danny.
$10
And Nick, you go to the right.
for my login.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody get Burke a Disney Plus subscription. So yeah, that's what we'll do. WandaVision, and we'll settle this Spider-Man 2 debate next week. We'll make some time for it. All right.
We got a call back. We're gonna need a call back.
Yeah, we're gonna need a call back on this one. All right. Thanks so much. See you tonight. Or see it. What? Fuck it.